5:30. This is NBC Nightly News. Reporting from New York, Bob Jameson.
Good evening. Despite optimism throughout the day that a settlement might be near in the Middle East, we have late word this evening of renewed heavy artillery fire in West Beirut. There had been only sporadic shooting in Beirut this weekend, where the Palestine Liberation Organization is reported ready to pull out and go to Syria, Egypt, Jordan, and perhaps Tunisia. After a letter from Secretary of State George Shultz, Prime Minister Begin indicated his willingness to compromise on a key Israeli demand and allow a multinational force to enter Lebanon before all of the PLO had gone. Martin Fletcher reports now from Tel Aviv.
Israeli armored vehicles ready for battle headed north this afternoon towards Beirut. All signs had pointed to an imminent Israeli assault on PLO positions, but then fear of more war turned to hope for peace. The Israeli government received a letter from Secretary of State George Shultz. The cabinet met and called the letter important. Government sources said it contained dramatic news. Shultz told the Israelis Ambassador Habib will have agreement on the PLO evacuation within 48 hours. And Begin's reply indicated Israel is now ready to compromise on when to admit the multinational peacekeeping force. Defense Minister Sharon left early to see Habib in Beirut. He said the other outstanding problem could not be solved yet. No Arab country would take the PLO. That pessimism sets Sharon apart from many of his colleagues. Some critics complain it's almost as if Sharon wants more fighting. But despite Sharon, there was a subtle shift in atmosphere towards what the Foreign Ministry called cautious optimism. Prime Minister Begin told military graduates he believed the PLO will leave Beirut soon and that the Israeli army would not have to go into Beirut. And he gave details of a possible Israeli compromise. He said as many as 2,000 PLO fighters could stay in Beirut after the peacekeeping force arrived as part of a two-phase withdrawal. But if they didn't leave on schedule, which is Israel's biggest fear, then Begin said the peace force must depart Beirut, leaving the Israelis free to take the rest of the PLO out by force. On his way out, Begin summed up the developments of the day.
Mr. Prime Minister, are you optimistic the situation will be resolved?
Optimistic indeed, yes. We hope that the terrorists will soon leave Beirut.
How soon do you think
and Lebanon.
But Begin's government has said repeatedly they don't trust the PLO. They hope this isn't another stalling tactic. Martin Fletcher, NBC News, Jerusalem.
Bolstered by signs of Israeli flexibility, in Washington, the Reagan administration expressed new confidence that the mission of Ambassador Philip Habib would succeed. More from White House correspondent Andrea Mitchell.
Israeli officials like Ambassador Moshe Aarons went on American television to signal Israel's flexibility and desire for a negotiated settlement. Aarons on CBS's Face the Nation.
Of all the parties that want the PLO terrorists out of West Beirut, the Lebanese, the United States, the Israelis, the one that is most interested in doing this by negotiations are the Israelis because they would be taking the casualty.
He called Israeli shelling turning the screw to help the talks along, not sabotage them.
That if there's any kind of hope for a successful conclusion of the negotiations, it is no doubt the direct result of the screw having been turned. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a chance of concluding these negotiations.
Aarons indicated that when to deploy the multinational force might not be a major sticking point. And on ABC's This Week, Foreign Minister Shamir was talking compromise.
Our former position was that the multinational force has to come after all of the PLO have left Beirut and Lebanon. Now we are ready to accept a compromise that the multinational force will be able to come after the majority of them have left.
Today's Israeli statements bear out the administration's belief that Israel will eventually accept Habib's solution. The view here tonight is that while mechanical details remain, an agreement is near. Andrea Mitchell, NBC News at the White House.
Before he met Israeli Defense Minister Sharon today, Ambassador Habib chaired a meeting of countries that would help deploy the peacekeeping force in Lebanon. France says its troops, the vanguard, could be in Lebanon on just a day's notice. Vic Aiken reports from Beirut.
High-ranking French officers, top Lebanese military men, and the Italian ambassador were all involved in the talks at the American ambassador's residence here in East Beirut. The Italian ambassador Franco Ottieri said that the talks with Special Envoy Philip Habib centered on the formation and deployment of a multinational force.
The situation is approaching to a solution, hopefully, and together with our American and French friends, we are making preparations for the eventual deployment of a multinational force.
Hopes for a peaceful solution have been shattered before, and the Israelis continue to move their heavy weapons into new positions. Despite the guarded optimism that a peace plan may be near, there are still sporadic artillery duels between Palestinian and Israeli gunners here in Beirut. And besides that, the Syrians and the Egyptians both publicly say that they will not take in any Palestinian fighters. Vic Aiken, NBC News in East Beirut.
So far, only Jordan has announced publicly that it is willing to accept members of the PLO, but a key Lebanese negotiator is quoted as saying that a timetable for the departure should be announced in a couple of days. And in the PLO stronghold of West Beirut, the organization's newspaper said the decision to pull out had been taken, and PLO officials said privately they had abandoned all hope of surviving in Beirut. Jim Compton has more from West Beirut.
Lebanese officials are more hopeful than ever before the Palestinians will exit peacefully from Beirut. The former Prime Minister, Saad Salam, is one of the key middlemen between Yasser Arafat and Presidential Envoy Philip Habib.
People are perhaps more hopeful than ever before. The more people, to me, are in despair, the more they look up with hope. But knowing the Israelis, as one does, one doesn't trust them at all. And I think they are determined, they have been determined all the time to kill the Habib mission. If the American administration for once stops being or yielding to the Israeli pressure, I think things will turn different here.
These fighters in a refugee camp surrounded on three sides by Israeli forces came from several countries to volunteer for this war. If an evacuation settlement is reached, they say they will follow Yasser Arafat's orders.
If Yasser Arafat says, we go out, yes. Do you go out?
It's Yasser Arafat, he is our leader. And his wishes, it's order for us.
Beirut, battered by 2 months of war, is holding on in what everyone acknowledges is the most delicate moment in the political process yet. Refugees continue to flood out of the city in fear that a final showdown will come. But most stay behind, braving the sweltering heat and food shortages because they have nowhere else to go. More and more Palestinians patrol the city center. No one knows if they will leave. James Compton, NBC News, West Beirut.
At $57.95, the Mazda B2000 Sundowner is the lowest priced truck in America. Yet it comes with standard features Datsun and Toyota don't even offer on their economy trucks, like a 5-speed, steel-belted radials, 3 passenger seating, tinted glass, full carpeting, and sakes alive, Mazda B2000 Sundowner even gets better gas mileage.
Only Mazda's got a truck for just $57.95.
Polydent presents Martha Ray, stage star, denture wearer.
When I have to give an audience my big Martha Ray smile, I need something extra. Extra strength Polydent Green. It gets my dentures sparkling clean. Watch, tough lab stains. Now, extra strength Polydent. It's fantastic. Gets tough stains clean, even in between. So take it from a big mouth. Try Polydent Green. Get tough stains clean with extra strength.
Hello, this is Fatty's Supermarket. We deliver 24 hours. What is your order today, ma'am? What was that? Hold on.
There's one cat food that always delivers. Meow Mix, because only Meow Mix brand cat food has the 3 flavors cats love best in one package. So only Meow Mix tastes so good, cats ask for it by name.
Ma'am, on that Meow Mix, was that the large bag or the 18-ounce box?
At their meeting in Oklahoma, the nation's governors are voicing frustration over President Reagan's new federalism program. In fact, after failure to get White House concessions, the governors now may draft their own version of new federalism. Dan Molina reports.
The governors chose a sprawling resort designed with a tropical flair for their annual meeting. There's a bit of time in the agenda for enjoying it all, but dominating this gathering is a determination among many governors to challenge the president on two key issues. First to emerge today was opposition to the new federalism plan the president outlined in his State of the Union message. The chairman of the Governors Association, Richard Snelling of Vermont, says 6 months of negotiating with the administration hasn't resolved key issues, and the states may draw up their own plan for redistributing federal programs.
There is a disagreement between the governors and at least some of the folks in the White House as to what the ultimate responsibility of the federal government is.
Snelling says that responsibility includes keeping welfare payments on the federal level. The president wants those payments to come from the states. The principal White House aide attending the conference says there's still hope that an agreement can be reached.
It's a flexible thing. There have been about 35 or 40 compromises, some by them, some by us. And really, being down to about 4 issues is quite an achievement.
The second overriding issue at the Governors' Conference is the proposed balanced budget amendment. In a blistering attack, Representative James Jones, chairman of the House Budget Committee, told the governors the president is practicing the politics of evasion. He called the proposal an economic cover-up. There's no clear consensus among the governors on this question so far. Dan Molina, NBC News, Afton, Oklahoma.
In Washington, prosecutors will go to court tomorrow to argue that John W. Hinckley Jr., the man who shot President Reagan, is so insane that he should be committed to a mental hospital indefinitely. For many, the idea that Hinckley may ever go free is an indictment of the insanity defense, an issue that is at the top of the agenda at the American Bar Association's annual meeting in San Francisco. NBC law correspondent Carl Stern reports.
After the deliberate and calculated shooting of President Reagan ended in John Hinckley's acquittal by reason of insanity, there were immediate calls to abolish the insanity defense.
There must be an end to the doctrine that allows so many persons to commit crimes of violence, to use confusing procedures to their own advantage, and then to have the door open to them to return to the society which they victimized.
That issue is near the top of the list as lawyers are meeting this week at the annual convention of the American Bar Association.
I believe that we will see a great change in the insanity defense in this country, largely because of the public emotion behind the Hinckley verdict acquittal.
All of a sudden, because of the reaction to Hinckley, we have people coming in saying we're going to eliminate this defense.
But you don't think that's going to happen?
I don't think they can do that. I don't think they can do it because I don't think it would be constitutional.
I think it's very likely that it would be a violation of the constitutional rule of due process if they were to abolish it. And although attempts will be made, I don't think that they will succeed.
A Bar Association commission is drafting new standards retaining the insanity defense. Some members testified today. The ABA commission is not expected to complete its work for another 2 years, by which time it hopes reaction to the Hinckley verdict will have died down, or the courts will have struck down efforts to abolish the insanity defense. Carl Stern, NBC News, San Francisco.
So, for a living, even with arthritis pain, now I get help.
Arthritis pain formula, 50% more strength than regular strength tablets.
These hands are my business, even with arthritis pain. Now I get help.
Arthritis pain formula, 50% more strength for hours of relief from minor arthritis pain attacks.
I can't let arthritis pain slow me down. Now I get help.
Arthritis pain formula, 50% more strength than regular strength tablets. Or aspirin-free arthritis pain formula for aspirin-free pain relief.
You're about to see one of the most versatile cars in the world, Chevy Citation. It's a 4-cylinder fuel-injected compact when it comes to the corner gas station. It's a mid-size when it comes to the family reunion. It's a wagon when it comes to the seashore. And when it comes to the road, it's a performer that's outsold every other front-wheel drive over the past 3 years.
During Chevy's factory-authorized clearance, special allowances to dealers make possible savings of hundreds of dollars.
I'm chewing gum again. It's wonderful. For years I couldn't because gum stuck to my dental work, but now there's Freedent gum. It doesn't stick, so I can enjoy all the pleasures of chewing gum again. The delicious flavor, fresh, clean breath, and refreshing taste. All that's possible again with Freedent gum from Wrigley's. It comes in peppermint and spearmint. You'll love it.
Feel free to chew Freedent.
It won't stick to most dental work.
Freedent gum.
In Moscow, a 33-year-old Russian who says he wants to live has been on a hunger strike since July 5th. hoping to force Soviet officials to let him leave and live with his American wife. Yuri Balaflenkov has now been joined by his wife, a Baltimore nurse, who says she will force-feed her husband to keep him alive. Frank Burkholzer reports.
Yuri Balaflenkov spends most of his time now in a narrow bed in a corner of his tiny living room in Moscow. He has lost 1/3 of his body weight, but not his will to live, even though he is determined to continue his fast, whatever happens.
I want, but I don't know if Soviet authority wants I'll die. I'm ready, but I want to live. I want to live.
Medical materials to force feed him may be put to use in the next day or so, according to his American wife, Elena.
Tomorrow is his day of reckoning. I mean, you can see that every day that goes by, as I said, Yuri's dying.
The OVIR is the agency which must issue the document Yuri Balaflenkov needs to join his family in America.
I will go to the OVIR tomorrow for the purposes of telling Yuri just exactly what we all know. The OVIR is not going to give him anything. They would like nothing more than for Yuri to die. And be an example.
Frank Burkholzer, NBC News, Moscow.
When martial law was imposed in Poland 8 months ago, the authorities said it was necessary in order to revitalize the country's devastated economy without the continued disruption of the Solidarity labor movement. But labor peace in Poland may last only as long as the military regime. And as John Cochran reports tonight, the economy has only worsened under martial law.
We'll call her Anya. She doesn't want us to use her real name. Anya is not happy with the inflation imposed by the martial law authorities. Food prices have risen 400% under martial law. So when Anya buys groceries for her family, she has to use some of the savings she accumulated when times were better in Poland. The authorities say higher prices are essential to restore the Polish economy to health. Higher prices and hard work. The only economic success story this year has been here in the coal mines. At the start of martial law, workers at this mine went on strike for 2.5 weeks. The strike was broken when the authorities threatened imprisonment. That threat has kept miners on the job. The result, coal production has risen 17% this year. But steel production has not been a success story. Under martial law, steel production is down 18%. The Communist Party leader, General Jaruzelski, went to a steel plant to ask the workers what is wrong. He got an earful. The first complaint, we do not have enough workers to do our jobs properly. Young people refuse to work here because wages are low and working conditions terrible. Jaruzelski's response, you should be glad to have fewer workers. If there were more, we would have to cut your wages. Another complaint, we do not have enough equipment to produce at capacity. We should be producing 20% more. Jaruzelski replied, I'll make a note of that. The workers also wanted to know about Lech Wałęsa, the interned leader of their suspended Solidarity Union. The general said curtly that Wałęsa is in good health. On Friday, leaflets floated down onto a Warsaw street, urging Poles to demonstrate peacefully against the continued internment of Solidarity activists. Those protests are scheduled for the last day of this month, the second birthday of Solidarity. Already this summer, there have been peaceful protests. Demonstrations are illegal, so Solidarity members have gathered at officially approved occasions, such as the anniversary of the Warsaw Uprising against the Nazis in 1944. They heard recorded messages from Solidarity leaders in hiding. For the moment, the Solidarity Underground is not calling for strikes, which would further disrupt the economy. But the union has warned that its patience is not unlimited. John Cochran, NBC News, Warsaw.
This snowy road demands it. This downpour demands it. This sandy beach demands it. Only Subaru lets you switch from front to four-wheel drive without stopping. On-demand four-wheel drive. Extra traction when conditions demand it. Subaru. Inexpensive and built to stay that way.
Susan's dog is alive today because his Heart's Flea and Tick collar helped save his life last night. The Heart's 2-in-1 Plus Nighttime Safety Reflecting Color, the first flea and tick killing color that reflects oncoming car headlights to help protect your pet at night. And that same Heart's color protects against fleas and ticks every day, round the clock for 5 months. Get your dog or cat the Heart's 2-in-1 Plus Nighttime Safety Reflecting Color. Now the famous Heart's Flea and Tick Killer can be a lifesaver too.
More people take Unisom than any other sleep aid. Millions have discovered that Unisom works. They fall asleep faster. Only Unisom has doxylamine. And in medical tests, Unisom helped people feel drowsy, so they fell asleep faster. Significantly faster than they did without Unisom, and slept better all night. For occasional sleeplessness, more people trust Unisom. Take Unisom and fall asleep faster.
A new study says the U.S. government system for controlling exports of uranium that could be used for nuclear weapons doesn't work. The General Accounting Office says the federal government is ill-equipped to determine the whereabouts of thousands of pounds of uranium that is shipped overseas. Since 1954, the report says, the U.S. has supplied more than 140 tons of highly enriched uranium to 43 countries around the world. On Puget Sound in Washington state, the first Trident submarine, the Ohio, is due any day, and protesters are there to greet it. Heidi Schulman reports.
On Washington's Hood Canal, the salmon run heavy and oysters are free for the picking. Into these idyllic waters will come the first of the Trident submarines, the Ohio, armed with long-range nuclear missiles. The missiles will be loaded at Bangor, where the Navy has invested nearly $1 billion in a home base for 10 Trident subs.
Oh, Ronnie boy and the rest of you, we don't want your Trident.
On the canal last week, opponents rehearsed a blockade. 30 of them planned to row small boats into the Ohio's path to stop it.
We believe that it's a violation of God's law and of international law for a first-strike nuclear weapon to be deployed.
Honk for Trident! The sub has supporters here. The Navy is the local economy.
As long as it brings more revenue into the county, I think it's a good thing.
It's not a good thing to the several thousand opponents who rallied against the sub today at an Indian reservation on the canal.
Once one of the warheads goes off, I think that's the end of everybody.
It threatens the world. Simply that.
It keeps going on like this. It's a matter of time.
Before what?
Annihilation.
Religious leaders plan a peace vigil as the sub comes in, but don't know when that will be. The Navy is keeping the exact date classified. Heidi Schulman, NBC News, Point Julia, Washington.
Japan's Kyoto News Service has reported a bizarre World War II plot by the Japanese to spread plague in the United States. The source is a one-time Army doctor quoted as making a deathbed confession to a friend. The doctor said the Japanese planned to send balloons to North America carrying plague-infested rats and fleas, but the plan never materialized.
Open wide.
Oh, wait a minute, Doctor.
What's wrong, Joan?
You need the breath deodorant.
Sorry. Must have been the onion salad dressing.
Clorette's will take care of that.
Clorette's?
Clorette's is the breath deodorant. It'll freshen your breath fast. Only Clorette's has Actazol and helps your mouth's own freshening power eliminate bad breath. The breath deodorant costs a little more, but it's worth it. Ready, Doctor?
For fresh breath fast, Clorette's, the breath deodorant.
When Seiko in Tokyo sends executives overseas, they're given Citicorp traveler's checks.
Try on?
Because who knows where they might end up.
10 gallon. 5 gallon? Citicorp traveler check, okay?
Sure, okay.
Accepted round the world. Refunds in thousands of locations.
For my granddaughter. Howdy, partner.
Because you never know where you might end up. Citicorp traveler's checks. The moist dewiness of the islands, seen in the ageless skin of its women, is captured in each greaseless drop of the mysterious beauty fluid oil of Olay. As tropical oil and silken emollients harmonize with your skin's own natural fluids, a soft, luminous look emerges, and a coveted secret of timeless beauty becomes yours. Discover the mystery of oil of Olay. It can help you look younger, too.
The Edsel seemed like a good idea at the time, a time when bigger was better and any new automobile seemed like a logical extension of the American dream. But that dream quickly turned into a nightmare for the Ford Motor Company, which made the Edsel. This weekend, the 25th anniversary of that miscalculation, a group of people with a sense of history and a common experience gathered in Dearborn, Michigan. Here's Jim Cummins.
Oh, happy day, happy day.
The Ford Motor Company had high hopes for the Edsel when it was first introduced in 1957.
The exciting new Edsel.
What's ahead of the Edsel? A permanent place on the American road.
It was priced higher than a Chevy, less than a Buick. The Edsel featured teletouch transmission control and dared to be different. It was. It didn't sell. So Ford changed its sales pitch and pitcher.
See, sit in, drive tomorrow. The eye-opener of the year, the 1959 Edsel.
That failed, too. The company stopped production of the Edsel 2 years, 2 months, and $250 million after it began.
How does it feel to own an Edsel?
It's like falling in love.
That love affair never ended for the members of the Edsel Owners Club, who this weekend observed the 25th anniversary of the most conspicuous failure in American automobile history. Group founder Perry Piper remembers how these people came together.
They had a car that they couldn't trade off. Nobody would give them anything for it. So they thought there was other people just like them around, and we kind of got together as kindred souls.
Those kindred souls put their old cars on display at a shopping center in the shadow of Ford World headquarters. Some of the people walking by are too young to remember Edsel.
It's an Edsel?
Oh. The Edsels were discontinued the day before I was born.
Many of those old enough to remember have changed their minds about the car.
The front end was an ugly looking thing, and
how does it look to you today?
Today it looks very stylish. I'd buy one, really.
The Edsel is now considered a classic by some people, sometimes selling for 2 or 3 times its original price. One Edsel owner said, "We bought the lemons 25 years ago, but we're enjoying the lemonade today." Jim Cummins, NBC News, Dearborn, Michigan.
That's the news this Sunday evening. Roger Mudd will report from Washington tomorrow night. Tom Brokaw from the Middle East. I'm Bob Jameson. Good night for NBC News.
Did you know that Fame had 12 Emmy nominations? That's more than MASH or Lou Grant. Does that mean it is as good as MASH or Lou Grant? I guess you have to see for yourself.
Watch Fame every Thursday night at 8, 7 Central and Mountain. You'll like what you see.
We don't think you'll find better car service anywhere than Mastercare by Firestone, and we'd like the chance to prove it. That's why we're offering special savings on Mastercare service for a limited time. You'll save on replacement belts now at Firestone, $13.95 for 1 belt, and greater savings on 2 or more. Or get a complete Mastercare tune-up for just $28.95. If you've been looking for really good car service, come to Firestone and give Mastercare a chance.
The Big Valley. Barbara Stanwyck, Richard Long, Peter Brett, Lee Majors, Linda Evans, in dramatic stories of the Old West and the spirit